The red carpet at the 95th Academy Awards wasn't just a celebration of cinema, it was a crime scene. Look closely at the faces. Sunken temples, hollowed-out cheeks, eyes that look like they haven't seen a carbohydrate since the Obama administration. In less than 12 months, the most powerful people in the world collectively decided to stop eating. But this isn't about a new diet or a sudden burst of willpower. This is about a chemical coup. Behind the designer gowns and the $50,000 gift bags, a silent supply chain was being rerouted. Insurance companies were hemorrhaging millions. Diabetics in rural towns were watching their life-saving medication vanish from pharmacy shelves. All because a $600 billion pharmaceutical giant found a way to commodify the one thing humans couldn't control: hunger. Welcome to the era of the skinny pen, a world where health is a subscription and your biology is owned by a Danish corporation. Rewind to the headquarters of Novo Nordisk. Before the chaos, there was a miracle. For decades, type 2 diabetes was a slow, grinding death sentence. Then came semaglutide. The scientists weren't trying to build a vanity drug, they were trying to save lives. And they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. The stock price didn't just climb, it detonated. Suddenly, a company from a quiet suburb in Denmark was worth more than the entire GDP of its home country. Investors called it the Goldilocks drug. It didn't just lower blood sugar, it did something far more profitable. It hijacked the lizard brain. It told the stomach to stop moving and the brain to stop wanting. The marketing was subtle at first. A whisper in the ears of the elite, a secret shared between billionaires on private jets. The promise was simple. You can have the body of a god without the sacrifice of a mortal. It was the ultimate status symbol. A clear liquid delivered via a needle so thin you barely felt the sting. The world was hooked before it even knew the name of the drug. But as the first $1 billion poured in, a terrifying realization began to leak out of the labs. The needle doesn't just turn off your appetite, it might be turning off your ability to ever function without it again. It's called the GLP-1 receptor agonist, but to the board of directors at Novo Nordisk, it was a license to print money. The trick was a biological hack. In a normal human body, when you eat, your gut sends a signal to your brain, "I'm full." That signal lasts a few minutes. Semaglutide changed the physics of the human appetite. It mimicked that hormone but made it last for days. It didn't just tell you to stop eating, it paralyzed the stomach. Food stayed in the gut for hours, even days longer than nature intended. The reward center of the brain, the part that lights up for a burger or a glass of wine, simply went dark. By 2021, the FDA approved Wegovy for chronic weight management. The floodgates didn't just open, they disintegrated. Novo Nordisk's market cap began to swallow the European stock market whole. In 2023, the company's valuation hit $428 billion. That is more than the entire annual economic output of Denmark. A single company was now steering the fate of a nation's currency. The arrogance in the C-suite was palpable. They weren't just selling a drug, they were selling the end of obesity. They were the new gods of the human form. Every shortage only added to the allure. The scarcer the skinny pen became, the more the price skyrocketed on the black market. Telehealth startups sprouted like weeds, offering prescriptions after a 30-second chat with a bot. No blood work, no physical exam, just a credit card number and a shipping address. The money was flowing so fast, the regulators couldn't even see the trail. But while the influencers were posting their transformation videos, the first reports started hitting the back desks of the FDA. Patients weren't just losing weight, they were losing the ability to ever digest food again. The miracle was starting to look like a curse, and Novo Nordisk did what every titan does when the foundation cracks. They looked the other way and doubled the marketing budget. The internal emails started leaking by late 2023. Safety signals were flashing red in the Copenhagen headquarters. Patients weren't just nauseous, they were arriving in ERs with frozen stomachs. The medical term is gastroparesis. The food sits in the gut so long it turns into a toxic solid mass. The doctors called it the Ozempic burp, a smell of rotting sulfur from inside the body. But the board had a different metric to worry about. Wall Street wanted 30% growth, so they didn't slow down. They scaled up. They didn't just target the obese, They started eyeing the kids. In early 2024, the push began to put teenagers, children as young as 12, on a lifetime subscription to the needle. But here is the twist that no one saw coming. The money wasn't just coming from the rich. It was being drained from the most vulnerable systems in America. State health plans for teachers and firefighters began to collapse under the weight of the $1,000 a month habit. In North Carolina alone, the state treasurer realized the skinny pin would bankrupt the entire state's insurance fund by 2030. They were choosing between weight loss for the elite and health care for the working class. And while the states panicked, Novo Nordisk did something even darker. They started buying the influencers, not just the celebrities, the doctors. Data revealed that the company had funneled $25 million to experts who conveniently downplayed the risks on national television. It was a total information blackout. If you spoke against the drug, you were fat-phobic. If you questioned the side effects, you were anti-science. The hype was a fortress. The profits were a mountain. But every mountain has a fault line. And in a small lab in Louisiana, a whistleblower was about to hand over a file that proved the company knew about the paralysis years ago. The clock just hit zero. The explosion was no longer a possibility. It was a countdown. The lawsuits didn't just trickle in. They hit like a tidal wave in the summer of 2024. State after state filed failure to warn claims. The images leaked from the ERs weren't Hollywood anymore. They were horror. Internal scans of stomachs that had simply quit. Dead tissue. Surgeons removing feet of rotted intestine. The panic hit the stock market like a lead pipe. In 48 hours, billions in market cap evaporated. The Goldilocks drug was now a legal radioactive waste site. But look at the scoreboard. The CEO didn't go to prison. The board didn't lose their mansions. They took their bonuses, cashed out their stock at the peak, and watched from their yachts as the insurance premiums for every single American worker spiked to cover the damage. The miracle was a wealth transfer disguised as a syringe. The lights are back on now. The red carpet has been rolled up. But look at the faces in your neighborhood. The needles haven't stopped. Novo Nordisk didn't vanish. They just rebranded the desperation. They've moved on to the next generation of the drug. More potent, more permanent. We are living in the first chapter of a post-hunger world, a world where your biology is a monthly utility bill you can never stop paying. If you quit, the rebound isn't just weight. It's a metabolic crash that leaves you more broken than when you started. You are now a captured customer in your own skin. The skinny pin was never about health. It was about making sure that even your basic survival instincts have a price tag. Take a look at your medicine cabinet tonight. Read the fine print on that life-changing prescription. They didn't cure your hunger. They just bought the rights to it, and they're never giving them back.